Yo, it's me, CSGOTT, baby, and I'm here with my review of the 1986 film House, starring William Katt, George Wendt, and directed by Steve Miner. Now, so I've heard a lot about this franchise. I've watched Decker Shadow's videos, I've watched the Minty videos, I've even watched Brendan Tenold's video on the first one. So I know the basic plot of all four of them, and I know a lot about the films. I'm going to be reviewing all four. And it's ironic. If you don't know, this film was originally envisioned as a segment for a Twilight Zone-like anthology film. And this whole franchise ended up being sort of an anthology film franchise. If you think about it, it's all four films are they're not connected to each other. Even though the fourth film has William Katt returning, from what I know of it, it's very loosely connected to the first one. Anyway, we'll get to it, but yeah, so watching this for the first time. By the way, the first two films, House and House 2, they're for free on Tubi right now. You go to Tubi, that's Tubi, it's a streaming app. You go in there, you type in House, you'll find both of them. And the other two are on YouTube right now, so when I'm finished with the second one, I don't know how long I'll be, if I'll be doing it. You're gonna get, because, it's late. Right now, as I'm recording, it's probably almost 9 o'clock. Central Standard Time. So, yeah. I was going to do this earlier today, and videos just kept appearing on YouTube. I was going to do it after this one video, and then my son called me on the phone, so I watched the video while I was talking to him, so I could do it after we, talked. And we talked for an hour on the phone, and by the time I got done, there was more videos to watch. So I just kept procrastinating, and I finally wasn't able to watch it till 7 o'clock at night. By the time I got done watching the other videos. So, yeah, been a little busy YouTube-wise watching videos today. But, so let's talk about this movie. It came out in 1986. It stars William Katt. And there's cheesy music in this. But there's only one song I hear when I see William Katt. And it's neither of the two songs in this film. That song, of course, is Believe It or Not, I'm walking on air. I never thought I could feel so free. Flying away on a wing and a prayer. Who could it be? Believe it or not, it's just me. Yeah, the theme song from The Greatest American Hero, which starred William Katt. Yes, I know he was in Carrie, but I haven't watched that movie yet. Ow! I'll get to it. Whoever you are. Anyway, the story revolves around a writer by the name of Roger Cobb, who, after the death of his aunt, moves back into his aunt's house and discovers that it is haunted. And that's the premise. He has to deal with this haunted house, also while trying to write a book about his time in Vietnam. So first and foremost, William Katt. I think William Katt is a fantastic actor. I don't think he's ever been in too much that I know of. Greatest American Hero, Carrie, this. He was in Mirrors 2, which I believe I've already reviewed. And one other thing. Heroes. He was on Heroes for a while. But I think he got frozen. Season 3? I believe he was in episode season 3. But his range in this, he could be calm, he could be frantic, desperate, angry, crazy. His range, is all over the place. So is this movie. And it starts out as this sort of a dark, brooding type movie. Like the grocery boy or whatever, delivery boy, whatever, finds the woman hanging in her bedroom, and it's at the funeral where he has nightmares after the funeral, and he decides to go back to the house, and we find out interesting things. He's an author. He lost his son when he was living. Apparently he grew up in that house after his mother died, and his family was living in that house too at one point with their aunt, and his son went missing, and they never found him. I don't know how long ago this was, but they never say exactly how much time has passed between when they lost him and when this happened. I can assume a year maybe. He and his wife, when the movie starts, he and his wife are divorced or separated or something. His wife is an actress. He's an author. He's writing about his experiences in Nam, and it wasn't a very good experience. And we find out throughout the film, through these flashbacks, that he and another, another soldier were attacked, and his friend Ben was wounded, and he asked him to put him out of his misery, but he couldn't do it, and he was taken away as a prisoner by the Viet Cong, I think it was. And, he swore, I'm going to get you, but how are you going to get him? He's dead, And that's what brings me to the villain of this. Big Ben ends up being the villain, the ghost that's haunting this house. And it's so out of left field because you don't think that anything in Vietnam really has a connection to him until the final act. When you find out that there's a portal in the bathroom medicine cabinet. When he breaks the mirror, he finds a portal that leads him to like an afterlife place that's Vietnam, where he has his final flashback where, I told you. And he finds his son, and he says like, he's coming, and they get away, and you see just a silhouette of someone dressed like a soldier, and you could be a Viet Cong, who knows what it is, but it's revealed that it's Ben. And here's the thing, they keep the guy in shadow, but when they reveal that it's Ben, he's a ghouled up version of Ben, not the Richard Mole version that we've seen for most of the film. And the fact that it's connected to his time in Vietnam kind of just comes out of nowhere. Really, it does. It comes out of nowhere. Like, they made a connection, but it doesn't really make any sense in that why is his old buddy from Vietnam haunting his aunt's house and not going after him anywhere else? Now, you could say that maybe his dream was part of that and that he used that to get him back to the house, but why does he need to be at the house? That's my confusion. He meets Harold, played by George Wentz, and right away George Wentz can tell there's something off about Roger. And just, there's a whole sequence where he fires the gun at one of the ghosts. Harold hears this and calls the cops and tells them that he was committing suicide. He thinks Roger's committing suicide. The cops show up and there's an awkward scene. Because here's the thing, his ex-wife shows up because he goes over to the house, to Roger's house, to talk to him, and he finds out and then he's acting weird, so he steals the guy's phone book. It's 1986 people phone book, and calls the guy's ex-wife. And then the next thing you know, supposedly his ex-wife shows up the next day, but it's a ghoul. And so he shoots the ghoul, and that's what leads him, Harold, to call the cops. And when the cops go in there, he's already taken care of this ghoul that's supposedly not all the way. After the cops leave, it comes back, and thanks to the help from the spooky gardening tools, they cause it decapitation, and he ends up burying her in the backyard. To the song, "You're no good, you're no good, you're no good, baby, you're no good." I'm not kidding. That song plays. After the decapitation, that song starts playing and plays throughout the whole time he's digging the hole. And there's another song in there too that's kind of, it's a female song sung by a female singer. And it's just like, does that really fit with this? This is the start of what becomes the horror comedy part of it. After a lull in the movie, I should say. At one point, he meets his neighbor, and he thinks that he's probably going to get some, but she brings her son over so that he can watch her son, Robert, while she goes out. And it's really just kind of, this is where it drags, and while he's trying to keep, like, when they first come over, the dismembered hand comes up and tries to get him, and he grabs the kid with the hand, brings it into the bathroom, bites the hand, and then comes out of the bathroom, and he's like, oh, he had to use the potty, but the kid doesn't say anything. And then, the way I'm saying this, it's very kind of weird. This is 1986, so it wasn't too weird, but then, there's more stuff that happens, and they both get dirty, and so he gives the kid a bath. I understand he's being nice. And the mom doesn't, the neighbor doesn't come back until after when the kid's already dressed and everything. But imagine if you were this mother and you were trusting your neighbor who you just met to watch your son, which is already a problem, and you come back and find your neighbor who you just met giving your son a bath. I understand that's part of taking care of someone's children, but when it's someone you barely know, it would be kind of weird. Now, Roger himself is not a weird person. He's not that kind of person at all. But I'm just saying it's just kind of weird. Nowadays, you probably couldn't put a scene like that in a movie. There's also one thing, when he's talking to the real estate guy when he first comes to the house, and they go into a shed, and there's a painting that his aunt had painted, and there's a cloth giving over one part of the painting, and he doesn't move it. And it's obvious that there's something there that we need to know about. And then later, he suddenly realizes, wait a minute, as he's laying in his son's old room, he clicks in his head that something's not right, runs to the shed, and pulls off the rag to reveal the mirror and a picture of his son going like this. Now, his son being in the mirror, okay, that's a great lead to that, but it doesn't make sense in the context of the film because throughout the film, we don't see any hint to him being in that mirror. The only time we ever really see the son, other than flashbacks, which we'll get to those, is when, and this is a really weird scene too, he's watching TV, and he turns the TV off, and then the son appears in the window, and then he takes the remote and clicks towards the window, and it turns the sun off. It's like, what? And that's the only time we see a hint of his son trying to reach out to him. It's not in the mirror, it's in the window, which, yes, I know has a reflective surface, but still. And the flashbacks. Now, I knew there were flashbacks in this film, but if you don't know those flashbacks, there's no transition or anything. They just cut the flashbacks. When he's writing his book, it makes more sense for his Vietnam flashbacks. But the ones with his son, he just sort of come out of nowhere. And he just, like he's standing there talking to the real estate guy. And then it cuts to him chopping up a tree. And his son is standing there. It's just like, there's no transition. For an 80s movie, I think it holds up pretty well. It's not, other than the music and maybe the clothing styles, but first time, it's kind of like Evil Dead Light, where it gets kind of wacky. There's a scene with a swordfish going nuts. But other than that, it's not quite as wacky as Evil Dead. Maybe the first Evil Dead, but even that was kind of weird. And what I think is it struggles with the tone. At first, it starts with really serious suicide and the funeral and all that. And it's kind of serious with, George Wendt's character Harold thinking there's something going on. And then halfway through the film, basically after when the ghoul, the ex-wife ghoul shows up, that's when it starts to get on the hinges. And it's really confusing because they don't really explain it. They have the ex-wife ghoul, and then when he kills the ghoul, it turns back to his ex-wife. So you think, oh shit, he's killed his ex-wife. And then he buries her in the backyard. And then at the end, after he saves his son and they're leaving the house, after he defeats Big Ben, which, by the way, I'll get to that, the ex-wife just shows up. And you're like, oh, wait, what? So that wasn't really his ex-wife. It was just a ghoul. Wait, what? But it made you think, maybe that's what they meant it to be? Like, because if you start watching this, you think maybe they could have gone the route where it was all in his head, Like, it's hereditary, because his aunt kept saying the house was haunted, but nobody believed her. So, he's under a lot of stress to write this book, and his aunt just died. Maybe it's hereditary, and he's starting to lose his mind. And that's one part of it that it could have been, is that, oh, he just killed his wife. Maybe it's all in his head. But then his ex-wife shows up in the end. And you realize, oh, this was real because his son shows up and everything. Okay, and Big Ben. Okay, so they do this, it's a twist, I don't know. But Big Ben shows up, and out of nowhere, it's revealed that he can't actually hurt anyone. He chops off Roger's hand for just appear off on him again. And it turns off, he just wants Roger to kill himself because he can't do it. So Roger takes the grenade on Big Ben's belt there, takes the thing off, puts it in his jacket, runs off with the kid, pff, explosion, dead. Kind of a weak ending, in my opinion. This is a big bad ghost and he can't hurt anyone. This movie's rated R, by the way. And, there are some scenes and there's some swearing and stuff. This today I've heard a couple times. So it merits it. But how they defeat Big Ben for me is just kind of, well, I can't hurt you. Okay. So why are you just big bad guy then? It just doesn't make any sense. Over. Overall, this film, it's a decent 80s horror film. Can't wait to watch the others. I'm going to try to do House 2 tonight. Like I said, they're not really sequels, as they don't really continue off each other. Even the fourth one that also has William Katt is kind of disconnected, as it's kind of, but each of them have one common thing, and that's a haunted house. So I'll get to the other ones, and then tomorrow we also have, Throwback Thursday and then Flashback Friday, and they're also going to be horror movies. So look forward to those. Until then, my score for this film, I got to give it a grade, right? I got to give it a rating. I'm going to give it an 8. I thought it was decent. I've heard that House 2 is better, so we'll have to see. But yeah, it's an 8 out of 10 for me. It's pretty good. So what are your thoughts on House? Let me know in the comments below. Like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.